And welcome, and it's
Hello,
lovely to have you
morning.
here today. You two were cousins. You were born 18 months apart from each other. You were more like siblings, so you knew her at her best. How would you describe her? What was she like?
Well, I think what everyone would say about Jill is that she was normal.
Yeah.
She was the girl next door. She'd come and been grown up in the West Country. Anyone who met her, both all her friends, all her colleagues, would all say the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, I used to see her a lot. We knew each other very well in this building, and she was very funny and, as you say, very sweet, very cheeky, but a brilliant broadcaster as well, and a really, really lovely person. And so everybody was absolutely stunned on that day. And when was the last time you had spoken to her? What were the discussions about?
So I was living in France at the time, and we were talking about the fact that she was going to be getting married later on in the year. I was going to be one of her bridesmaids, and so we were planning ahead. She rang up and spoke about her dress fitting, and we were talking about the fact that when I came back, could I help her arrange her wedding, because obviously there was a lot to be done and she was very busy. And that was probably about 10 days before I came back from France, and that coincided with the day, sadly, that Jill was killed.
Oh, gosh. I mean, as Phil said there, you know, it was her death really did shock the nation, and it was the biggest murder inquiry carried out by the Metropolitan Police, and the case remains to this day open. As a family, you've said that actually getting a conviction now is not the point. It won't change anything.
I think everything changed on the day that Jill was killed.
Yeah.
Getting a conviction is not going to bring Jill back. And so really, in the grand scheme of things, whilst I think we would probably like to know why, it really won't change anything. So it's not the most important thing for us.
Yeah.
But you say that one important word there, the word why, because she was shot and killed with a single bullet to the temple, a 9mm semi-automatic pistol pressed against her temple. I mean, that there were all sorts of, and I know you don't like speculating, all sorts of outside speculations of Serbian hitmen, and maybe it was in retaliation for NATO bombing in Serbia, and I think a well-loved broadcaster was killed there. Even though you don't like speculating, if you knew why and who, wouldn't that help you get over it?
Do you know what? There was a senior policeman who was working on the case who was a friend of mine, and he said to me, when you find out who's done this, if you find out who's done this, you will think, is that the only reason why? It would be a futile excuse, because he'd worked on a lot of murder cases. And so right from the start, I knew that if I ever found out, I would say, was that the only reason? Was she killed just for that? So the fact is that right from the start, I haven't thought about that or got hung up about it, because I know that if I find out, I'll go, it was so senseless, so pointless.
Yeah.
So there's no point worrying about it.
The public interest at the time was huge, and still is today. I mean, because of the nature surrounding her death. That was hard for you as a family to sort of share that with everybody. You didn't feel like you had that personal moment just to be able to grieve and process?
I think it helped that our family were not based in London, so we're based in the West Country, which meant that we were able to keep away from the media spotlight, really. But it did, in some ways, at that time, feel that Jill had been hijacked, and her memory was hijacked by everything that was going on centrally in London, and that's inevitable. So we've been allowed to grieve and come to terms with this in quite a private way. And this, actually, now, 20 years on, is the first time that I've really raised my head above the parapet.
Yes.
And this was because of the documentary that was made by the BBC late last year, which aired a few weeks ago. And her friends and family felt that they wanted Jill to be loud and clear in the documentary. They didn't want it just to be a whodunit. They wanted Jill to shine out and her personality to be there. And that's why we all decided to get involved in the documentary. And I knew that it was going to be quite high profile. And it was while I was out running one day that I thought that maybe I should do something physical, a physical challenge, something which would mean a lot to me, and something which would be really difficult. So I decided that maybe the London Marathon would be the way ahead, because it coincides with the anniversary of Jill's killing. I came home and I spoke to my husband and I said, do you think I'm capable of running a marathon? And he said, maybe, if you train for it, yeah, you've probably got a marathon in you, despite my age. And then I contacted the British Heart Foundation and I said to them, did they have a place? Because that was a very obvious charity that I wanted to support. And they said, yes, they did have a place if I wanted to do it, so I was committed.
Well, she was a keen supporter of the British Heart Foundation, wasn't she? Because she'd had heart problems as a baby.
So Jill was born with a congenital heart problem. I think she had a couple of holes in her heart and various other problems, and I think she was lucky to live. It was fortunate that she survived the surgery as well. But the amazing thing was that having had the surgery, she then went on to lead a completely normal life. And what's amazing about that surgery is it just gave her the opportunity to live a magnificent life and to do some amazing things, many of which we've all shared in.
And you, I guess as part of the training, it's a lot of hours and it's a lot of time, and running is solitary. You must have an awful lot of time to think and reminisce and almost sort of spend time with her.
And do you know what? That's a really good thing about this. You know, running on your own for up to sort of 3-4 hours at a time, you out in the countryside, I think it allows me to appreciate the life that I have got and the fact that, you know, it's spring, it's beautiful, and I'm able to benefit from this. And you think how sad it is that Jill hasn't had the chance to benefit.
No, that is...
But I think, for me, what's really important is that I and her friends and everyone she's left behind live the best possible life that we can all live, because we're very lucky that we still have a life. And so for her sake, because she always lived life to the full, it's really important that we make the most of our lives. And running the marathon for the British Heart Foundation on Sunday is me living my life to the full and representing the life that Jill can't have, but almost in some ways doing it for her.
Taking her with you.
And taking her with me.
Well, you've got a target, haven't you, of £10,000. I think you're doing very well so far. You're up to £4,000.
I am,
so you've got a little way to go. So...
And I'm very, very grateful to all the people who have...
Well, we'll put £1,000 in right now.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. That's really great.
And we'll also put the details on our app and
thank you very much.
And our website, so that anybody who might feel that if they remember Jill and certainly see the work that you're doing to remember her,
thank you very much.
Personal challenge that can help.
And can I just wish everybody who's doing the marathon on Sunday lots and lots of luck, because it's not an easy thing, and particularly for the 500 runners who are running for the British Heart Foundation.
Yeah, good luck to everybody.
And can we also ask on your behalf, could you all please go really slowly so that you can win?
Wouldn't that be nice?
That's great. Yes, thank you.
Thank you for
good luck
coming
on
in today.
Sunday. All the best. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.